So, when a movie comes along and it just seems to be exactly the movie you want to watch. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content as well as movie reviews here on this channel every week. If you are looking for a spoiler-free movie review, you've come to the right place. Here is a playlist of my recent movie reviews for you if you are looking for something else to watch this weekend. Yes, of course, you know that I have had my tickets to see Devil Wears Prada 2 since as soon as they went on sale. I actually ended up seeing it in Liverpool, which is not my local cinema, but I think it made it feel like extra special, like, oh, this is a destination movie. So it kind of elevated that for me. So if you're looking to shake up your movie routine, go to a different cinema that you don't normally go to. I have been to that cinema one other time before. Absolutely loved it, as you can tell from my face and the intro. It was just exactly the movie that I needed to watch. We went to a show the night before, walked out of the interval, had an awful journey there. We had a beautiful breakfast. We sat and watched this film and just like laughed and went, oh, and went, I've been there. Oh, it's that thing. Because there are so many Easter eggs in this movie. It's so cool. So if you are a Devil Wears Prada fan, I think that this movie has been like written for you. But if you're just new to it because you've seen the musical, or you've seen the memes, or you've seen the pajamas in Primark, then this movie is a complete package in its own sense. I mean, obviously, we know that the sequel, with some exceptions, is never going to be sort of quite as good as the original, but I think that they just kept it so like true to that canon and true to those characters that it's a really decent sequel, going in knowing that it's a sequel. So yes, those Easter eggs are beautiful. I am not going to spoil them for you, but there's just some there's some that you can tell that they really tried to put them in, and then there's some that just seem to happen naturally, that you would need to know that they are Easter eggs. Andy coming back and being fabulous. I mean, we sort of all knew that she was going on for greater things, and you can see from the trailer that she absolutely has gone on to greater things. And being back at Runway, I think, means that it just came full circle for her. And she talks a lot about her career progression and her career plans, both during and post Runway. And again, I think that's a great message to have in a movie. It's not just thousands of girls would die for this job. It's, this is where it fits into my own career progression, and this is where it fits into where I see my future going, and this is why it's the right move for me. So there's a lot of talk of that. There's a lot of talk of business in general. I think it's fabulous. Nigel, Stanley Tucci, Nigel is just the same, and you just wanted him to be the same because he was that constant, he was that rock, and he is that rock for just about every character in both of these films, and just plays that role so fabulously. He is just as fabulous and just as reliable and just as calming, smoothing everything over, and definitely had some lines that made me laugh. And then Emily, again, you can see from the trailer that she is very similar, and she again has not really changed, although you get to know a little bit more about her relationship history, as well as her current relationship that does feature in this film, which was slightly jarring because you were like, well, surely Emily essentially just lives and breathes Runway, but it's nice to see her career and character progression as well. But yeah, Emily Blunt was just having returned, she hasn't even softened ever so slightly, which you might expect her to have done, especially when you find out again her relationship history. But yeah, fabulous. And then Miranda's the only one who I think you can definitely see a change in. I think she definitely appears slightly softer in this film, but then it's 20 years later and she talks about the fact that she is the same age as the owner CEO guy of Elias Clark, and so she's 75. There's bound to be some sort of softening in her in some way, but very much sort of acknowledging of Nigel as her advisor. He's sort of always there in the background. And I just think her interactions with Andy are like just so special, and so like just those cutting lines that we remember from the first film, those moments are still there, but they're like even more relevant. And her new assistant is like trying to not let her say the non-politically correct things. She's trying to keep her woke. Talking about, there's one point, and again, it's not a spoiler, I'm not saying where it is in the film, but there's one point in the film where she's talking about like models who have curves, or plus size models, or and she's trying to use the word body positive, and I think it's just so funny seeing her trying to use the word body positive, because we know from having read the books and watched the film a million times and seen the musical, we know that you know, Miranda Priestley is never going to enter into the realm of body positivity. She's like, you know, these models are models for the clothes, we need to show off the clothes, they just need to be hangers. And so yeah, that's it was really interesting seeing that, and definitely a moment that made me laugh. One of my like favorite things that they've done is that they've kept Andy's best friend as Andy's best friend. She's played by the same actress, she's in that same world, she still loves a purse. And the moments that Andy shares with her are those moments that we would have where she would be sharing those with Nate in the first film, but you know, she's living on her own and doing her own thing, and I love that for her. And so you see her share those moments with her bestie, and I really love that about it. Like how they've kept that same character and kept that same relationship, because again, that's really quite realistic too. The fact that you wouldn't necessarily have the same friendship group, but there's bound to be one friend you still have 20 years later. And then, yeah, we have a couple of new characters. We've got Miranda's new assistant, who, again, as I say, is trying to keep her woke, and the new second assistant as well, who is fabulous. And I kind of wish we could have made more of him somewhat. And then Andy also has an assistant who is just like a little hidden weapon in supporting Andy and kind of like supporting the storyline as well, which is interesting. We get some truly fantastic locations in this one. We've got quite a lot set in Italy, and I'm like, was this just to tie in with Stanley Tucci's filming of his series in Italy? I mean, I know he spends a lot of time there. Obviously, he was also filming the Pope film over there, so I'm like, was this to do with his schedule? But yeah, I really enjoyed that, whilst having also some scenes set absolutely like in Manhattan, and just showing off the Elias Clark building, and showing off the like just the traffic and the being in the parks and all of that, and them eating at Bubby's, which was like one of the reasons that I went to eat at Bubby's a couple of times that I've been in New York. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. They've got those biscuits. But yeah, the storyline is, again, really quite realistic. I think there's a couple of moments where we see kind of like transportation options that would be, that was the only moment that made me dubious. And again, I'm keeping it very vague, there's no spoilers, but the storyline itself I think would have been real for Runway, and is real in the publishing market as it is right now, and would be real for those people. Oh, other new character we get to see is Miranda's partner. We don't see much of a partner for the Dragon Lady in film 1, although he is discussed in the book. We get to see more of him in film 2, and again, it's like she's got a Nigel at home as well as a Nigel at work, which I really, really liked. So I absolutely loved it, and I will be going to watch it again, because I can tell it's going to become just as much of a comfort watch for me as the first film was. And so, yes, I'm already thinking, right, when can I go and sit? When have I got a little pocket of time, a little 2-hour window that I can just go and sit in the dark and laugh and see my friends again? Yeah, so should you pay your cinema going money to go and see this one? I don't think it has to be seen on the big screen. It's not one where you're like, oh wow, the picture, oh wow, the sound. It's exciting seeing it on the big screen. But I think that this is one of those ones that you could go with someone or a group of people and have things to talk about afterwards. And it was really great. I watched it with my mum, and we were kind of like tapping each other or pointing at things during the film, not talking, to be clear. And so that was like a nice experience too. But I think I'm going to enjoy going to watch it on my own as well. So it's one of those things where, yes, I absolutely highly recommend that you watch the film, especially if you are a fan, because it definitely has stuff for you in. Do you have to go and see it in the cinema? No, but I think it would benefit from you watching it to be part of the conversation around the film. As always, if there is a movie you are looking for me to review next week, do let me know in comments. Always happy to go and watch on demand. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I will be back with more movie related content next weekend. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that. And I will have bookish content coming for you in the week. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching.